In early 2024, Sam Altman told a group of tech CEOs they had a running bet. When would the first billion-dollar company with a single employee appear?
And the thing that in my little group chat with my tech CEO friends, there's this betting pool for the first year that there's a one-person billion-dollar company, which would have been unimaginable without AI, and now will happen.
It sounded absurd, but now we're starting to see what that kind of company could actually look like. One person running sales, marketing, support, operations, and product, with AI handling the work that used to require an entire team. And this isn't a hypothetical. One founder recently built an AI company almost entirely by himself and sold it for $80 million just 6 months later. The interesting part isn't the exit. It's how little infrastructure he needed to get there, and what that means if you're trying to build something yourself. And you don't need to build an $80 million company for this to matter. If you can build a business where AI handles most of the repeatable operation, a one-person company doing $50,000 a month is no longer an absurd target. It's a model worth understanding. His name is Maor Shlomo. In January 2025, right after finishing a stretch of military reserve duty, he started building an AI tool that lets anyone create a working app just by describing it in plain English. No funding, no co-founder for most of the next 6 months. Just him. He crossed $1 million a year in revenue within about 3 weeks of launch. By June, Wix bought the company for $80 million in cash. That's the headline. The revenue number isn't actually the interesting part, because the lesson isn't that you need to build the next Base 44. The more interesting question is whether you could build something much smaller. A business doing $10,000, $20,000, even $50,000 a month, with the same underlying structure. What's interesting about Maor Shlomo is that he ran the entire company himself. Product, marketing, support, growth, for most of 6 months. And the thing that made that possible wasn't hustle. It was structure. Start where everyone starts. A task is one thing. Generate one page of code. Write one product description. Most people who use AI never leave this level, and it's genuinely useful. It's just not what sells a company for $80 million. A workflow is a chain of tasks running without you supervising each one. Shlomo built the actual engine behind Base 44, the part that takes a plain English description and turns it into working code, a database, and a real interface, as one continuous AI-driven workflow. Not one line of code at a time, a pipeline that builds the whole thing. A function is an entire department compressed into a system. Support, onboarding, and a chunk of his own product testing ran through AI systems he built once and then let run, which freed up his actual hours for the two things a system still can't do: deciding what to build next and talking to the users who mattered most. None of these pieces ran in isolation. The product engine, the support layer, and the growth loop all fed each other at the same time. That's the actual escalation worth remembering. Task-level AI saves you minutes. Workflow-level AI saves you hours. Function-level AI can absorb entire categories of work. And once those functions start running together, orchestration changes how many people the company needs in the first place. And that matters because headcount isn't just a staffing decision. It's a capital requirement. If you need fewer people to operate the business, you can potentially reach viability with far less money. That escalation, not any single tool, is what let one person run something that used to require a department. But there's an obvious objection. Base 44 is an AI company. Maybe this only works because the product itself is software. So let's look at a completely different business. Daymaker, run by two young founders, William Lindholm and Simon Diu, ships personalized cakes to executives and investors instead of sending cold emails. It sounds like a novelty. Within months, it was billing close to 6 figures in some months, according to Inc. and Sifted. And almost none of the back-end, the ordering system, the delivery logistics, the account setup was custom-built. They ran the entire operation through an AI-powered no-code platform, describing what they needed in plain English instead of hiring engineers to build it. They didn't own the infrastructure. They rented it. What they kept ownership of was the valuable layer, the idea, the customer, the offer, and the relationship. That's the real lesson underneath both of these stories. You don't need to own every capability required to run a company. You need to control the system that connects them. So this isn't about copying Base 44 or Daymaker. It's about recognizing the business characteristics that make this model possible. Look for 5 things. The product or service can be delivered digitally or coordinated digitally even when something physical shows up at the end, the way a cake still does. The core process repeats the same way for each customer, instead of needing a custom solution every time. The day-to-day operations, support, onboarding, fulfillment, can be handed to AI systems or outside platforms without wrecking the experience. The business doesn't lean on a large in-person team just to function. And you, the founder, keep direct ownership of the relationship with the customer, the thing that actually drives growth. A software tool like Base44 fits, a niche subscription service fits, an AI-powered agency running content or ads for other small businesses fits. What doesn't fit as well? A restaurant, where the entire value is the in-person experience. A business that needs a licensed professional physically present for every customer, like a dental practice. Or anything where the real cost is heavy manufacturing you can't hand off to software. If your idea needs a room full of specialists standing in one place at the same time, this particular shortcut isn't for you. In simple terms, digital, repeatable, systemizable, low physical dependence, and direct customer ownership. The more of these your business has, the more leverage AI can give one person. Try explaining this to a friend who still thinks you need a team before you can start anything real. He'll say, "You can't run a real company by yourself." The honest answer is closer to, "I don't need a company full of people yet. I need one system running before I need one person hired." None of this means AI runs the business on its own. Shlomo has said publicly that building this alone was genuinely isolating, that in the hard moments there was no one else to share the weight with. That's not a small detail. The system can generate the code, draft the support reply, run the outreach. It cannot decide what the product should become next, or whether a deal is worth taking, or absorb the blame when a customer is upset. That's the trade-off. The less labor you have, the more judgment the founder has to provide. AI can multiply a good decision, but it can also multiply a bad one. You still own picking the right problem, understanding the customer, shaping the offer, setting the strategy, making the calls, and standing behind the result when something breaks. AI can carry a huge share of the work underneath all of that. It doesn't get to make those calls for you, so here's where to actually start. Whether you're running a business already or you're still deciding what to build, stop assuming a repetitive task automatically needs a hire. The real principle is simpler. Don't hire before you've actually tested whether the function requires a human at all. Start building systems instead of just using tools. Don't ask AI to write one email and call it done. Chain the tasks together into something that runs on its own, the way Shlomo's product engine or Daymaker's ordering system did, and let it prove itself over a couple of weeks before you trust it with more. Continue owning the parts a system can't own, the pricing calls, the partnerships, the moments a real customer needs a real person on the other end. Keep those. That's not what's left over after automation. That's the actual job now. Your next step depends on where you're starting. If you already have a business, pick one function this week: sales outreach, support, content, and build exactly one system to run it without you. If you don't have a business yet, start with the 5-part test. Find a real problem people already pay to solve. Then ask, can the solution be delivered digitally or coordinated digitally? Is the process repeatable? Can a large part of the delivery be systemized? Can the physical or specialist pieces be outsourced? And can you keep the customer relationship? If most answers are yes, you've found the kind of business where AI leverage can compound. And this is where the economics get interesting. You don't need thousands of customers. A business doing $50,000 a month could mean 50 customers paying $1,000, 20 customers paying $2,500, or 5 customers paying $10,000. If the delivery is heavily systemized, one person can potentially capture far more of that revenue without immediately building a large payroll. A niche software product might pass all 5. A specialized digital service might pass 4. A restaurant fails several immediately because the physical operation is the product. That's the point. You're not looking for an AI business. You're looking for a business whose structure allows AI to carry a large share of the operation. So here's the actual shift, underneath everything else in this video. It's not that AI lets one person do more work. It's that AI lets one person build a company where most of the work no longer needs another person to do it. That's a different kind of advantage. It's not about being faster, it's about needing less. The old question was, how many people do I need to build this? The new question is, how much of this can become a system?